It's not
Well,
often the Albion Obsessed podcast comes to you so soon after a game. In my recent memory, I can only remember once, and that was after a Spurs game a few seasons ago where we got one of the worst refereeing decisions I can certainly remember. But it's also not often you lose as heavily as we've just done, Aaron. Normally, I would ask you how you were, but I think I know the answer to that. We are live. Please get your comments in. We hope this is going to be a cathartic session. I know me and Aaron have got some strong opinions and thoughts about what we've just seen. So, Aaron, let's just dive straight into it. Let's talk about Aaron, the starting 11. What? Just what? What? And I'm going to say this now. There's going to be expletives in this podcast. If you have sensitive ears, if swearing isn't your thing, you might not want to listen. But what the fuck was that?
I I didn't understand it at all. At all. You're playing one midfielder in a Premier League game. Are you fucking stupid? Question mark. I've never, ever. I even put this right in our coaches group chat that I've got with the women's team. I was like, "Have you ever seen this? Like, would you?" And everyone was like, "Yeah, no, that's pretty risky." No fucking shit. You're playing one who has played a minimum of 15 minutes of football in the last 11 games. And he's expected to do what exactly? Please tell me, Mr. Hertz, that you clearly have some fucking fantasy where this will work. It does not. It did not. Baffled.
Yeah,
Baffled.
yeah. It's the Sam Peters in the comments here has said, we hung Hinchelwood out to dry by making him the lone midfielder today when he's just come back from injury himself. Exactly what you've just said, Aaron. Sorry. We had Mr. Blue and White Sky on Blue Sky. Why would you play with one midfielder against arguably the best counter-attacking team in the league? I mean, it's schoolboy stuff. To start with, I was quite like, okay, this is risky, but maybe he isn't completely out of his depth. Maybe one of the fullbacks is going to come inside and sort of partner Hinchelwood as a double pivot. Maybe we'll see like a 3-2-2-3 formation, which is all the rage across Europe. But it was tactic. It wasn't just tactically naive, Aaron. It was a tactical disaster class. It was just shambolic. And you've got O'Reilly and Gomez on the bench. I think that's what makes it worse, because some people will point to, oh yeah, but Ayari and Baleba, they didn't travel with the squad. They were ill. You've got two midfielders on the bench. Two. Rutter or Pedro, sub them to the bench, bring on Gomez or O'Reilly. It's not rocket science. It was just naive in the extreme. And I think that's just our coach to a T. He has not instilled me with any confidence this season at all.
No, I agree. He is the problem. And today he's confirmed that. He is tactically inept. He doesn't understand his best formation, best team, best philosophy. He hasn't got a philosophy, so he can't, he said, trust the process. What fucking process? There's no process to trust. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you can say, yeah, we had no believer. That's a big miss, granted. Ayari makes no difference. I don't think he's that great anyway. But I'm not being funny. You would play a youngster in that position right now in midfield to partner Hinchelwood. You can't leave on his own. I don't even think Hinchelwood's to blame on this one, to be honest with you. And I don't think, you can put part blame on the players because obviously they're out there doing absolutely fuck all. But at the same time, not fuck all, because we did create chances. But the problem is we created chances because we were going gun-ho, But when you're 3-0 down, it means fuck all. Because you're 3-0 down away from home against a team that loves to counter-attack. What would you do when you're already 3-0? Do you think, let's not make it embarrassing? Let's just sit in, let's just finish this game 3-0, done, sorted. We go away, lick our wounds, we go again. Now, I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that because it's not part of my system. It's not part of my philosophy. Well, fuck off then. Because you're clearly out your depth, Ursa. You are out your depth. And it is clear as fucking day.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this comment from Adrian here is sort of getting to the nitty gritty of it. There's no structure in the system. We've long since said it on the podcast, well, since the start of the season. It just looks like give the ball to a forward player or a winger and just sort of hope something happens. There's been glimpses of really nice interplay. I mean, give it a bit of balance, a nice bit of interplay here and there. But for a long time, we have just looked absolutely shocking in one half and then okay in the next. And again, with Sam here, I mean, I posted on Blue Sky after 3 goals. We look lost, we look soft, we look weak, we look slow, we look clueless. That's what Sam said. And that is the polar opposite, Aaron, of how Forest looked. They were quick in transition, they were direct, they were clinical. And there was a point when we were actually doing a counter-attack, a rare opportunity for us. And you just had about 4 or 5 of their players sprinting back in a line, already in their shape, already in their structure to defend. And they were 3-0 up. And there's us sort of scratching our ass, not knowing what to do. As soon as that first goal went in, every single head just dropped. Every single one. Dunk looked absolutely clueless out there. And that sort of disbelief spread throughout the team. And it was just, it was embarrassing how we went from 10 minutes of, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say we were world beaters or anything like that, but we looked okay. And then suddenly we dropped, our heads after a goal. And it went through the whole team. And the complete lack of, grit and resilience in this team is a real, real worry.
Yeah, there was no grit, no determination, no bite, no bottle, no balls. It was just spineless. Absolutely spineless. And I said this against Palace, that it was a spineless, gutless display then. If I can't even compare the Palace game to this game. You just can't. I said this before. The fall of Dunk needs to be looked at because he looked decent last week against Everton. He looked solid, to be fair, but he's just looked well off it. Van Heck well off it. Lamptey is defensively horrific. Veltman was woeful as well. It doesn't help when you have, as a back four, when you have no midfield in front of you. That's where the issue is. You have no midfield in front of you giving you any protection. What do you expect is going to happen? After the second goal, any manager worth his weight in gold would go, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to make a change. It's not working. No, we stick to our principles and we go back again. What fucking principles? Show me the fucking principles that you have to stick to it and go, no, this will work. Trust me, this will work. It hasn't worked. United, yeah, I mean, anyone could beat United. That's the annoying thing because they are absolute arse. Norwich, league below. And don't get me wrong, they're a difficult team to play against. And we made it look bang average. But that's it. Realistically, it's not good enough. It is unacceptable that we have just been beaten 7-0, 7 goals to nil against Nottingham Forest, that's no disrespect to Nottingham Forest, clearly, because they're doing fantastic this year and they should have had 1 by 8 or 9, really. It is not acceptable. If I don't see him gone tonight or tomorrow, there will be genuine concerns where this season will finish.
Yeah, that's obviously like where we're leading to, isn't it? The question, and I think that's the big discussion now. Worst performance. Where does that rank in the worst performances, Aaron? I mean, it's a shame. I say a shame. It seems that this season, every week, we're talking about, oh, that was the worst performance of the season. Oh, that was the worst performance of the season. And for the Statos, the last time I certainly remember us conceding 7 was in 2009 against Huddersfield Town. And we were talking out off air, weren't we, Aaron, about how we were bad back then. So that's sort of not bad, and we were down to 10. But today, that, as you say, unacceptable. And the big question, and I know, Tim, you've commented here about you're fuming, but we should sleep on it. Time for cool heads. But I think after a performance like that, the big question on everyone's lips, Aaron, and we've had a few of these on Blue Sky. How long has he got left? And then CB Seagull on Blue Sky also asks, if he's not gone by Monday, what can we talk about? Bloom and Barber have sort of come out over the last few seasons and say we want to be consistently challenging for Europe. What does it mean for their ambition if he's still in this club on Monday morning?
I mean, we're not going to get Europe. He hasn't got the tactical nous to get Europe. We haven't got the players to get Europe because they've all turned into bottle jobs and have no grit, no determination, don't really care. Don't think they really trust the manager. Don't think they really rate the manager. I think really the time he's got left, hopefully the next sort of 9 hours, and then by tomorrow he'll be done.
Yeah, it's it's a shocker, certainly. I think a lot of fans and some people may call it reactionary, but I don't think we've seen anywhere near enough this season to warrant, after a performance like that. It's completely justified that fans are saying Herzler out. Just quickly, Doom, I can see your comment about Ayari and Baleba. Apparently some neurovirus. The neurovirus is going around. So that's great. So next week we could see goodness knows who else out. So that's lovely.
Yep.
It's just yeah. And it's like Adrian said, and we've had this conversation before. We've spent a lot of money this season, which I think is it sounds terrible, but I'm going to say it. I think Barber especially cares more about the money side of things than the actual sort of fans and their perception. I think that's fair to say. I think he does some things for the club brilliantly, and I'm going to give him his due for that. But I think he will care more that him and Tony have spent all this money. We've got nothing to show for it, rather than oh, we're not playing very well sort of thing, if that makes sense.
The thing is, I don't mind losing. I don't mind it. And Forest were the better team, but it's a way to lose. There's a way to lose. And if they even think that's acceptable, then they are fucking more deluded than I thought. Because you cannot expect fans to travel up early kickoff, remember, spend their hard-earned money after a really long, probably shit week at work, and then to go and watch that shit on a Saturday. If there's not an apology and refunded tickets by the club, no, actually not even the club, by Hertzler himself, it's his fucking problem, his fucking fault, then I will be very disappointed. Because they should get refunded. Every single penny to all those fans who went deserve that refund. Because that is not acceptable.
Yeah, it's people earning thousands of pounds a week, while the rest of, I don't want to make it about money, but you're right, Aaron. We're not like a League Two side anymore. These people are, earning tens of thousands of pounds a week to turn up and kick a ball around a park, fundamentally. And when you put in a performance like that, you need to come out and apologize. And because that isn't acceptable. And I think Joe said this in our group chat. If I see trust the process, I'm going to hit the roof. This comment, Aaron, I did flash it up on the screen a moment ago. A performance like that tells me that he has lost the locker room.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think he has?
100%. You can't tell me a locker room backs after that performance backs what that clown just did. There's no way on hell. The glorified PE teacher needs to go.
As someone who teaches PE, I find that offensive.
I say what I said.
Yeah. Again, this is from Jason on Blue Sky. I'd say that the players have saved his bacon so far. We are essentially safe despite Herzler, not because of him. I'd be inclined to agree on that. And we have a very talented squad at our disposal. The club have obviously gone out and spent a lot of money in the summer. I wasn't going to bring up the transfer window, but it seems like a good time because a lot of people will cite, but we've got lots of injuries. But today we had a pretty full strength squad. We didn't utilize it as best as we could because obviously we only played one midfielder. But apart from Purvis, we had the options off the bench. Gomez could have started, O'Reilly could have started, which would have given the team more balance. But we didn't. So I don't want to hear or see any comments about, but we've got lots of injuries. Because I know Vifa is out, and I know Baleba was out, and I know Yari was out, but we still had personnel that could come in and who have got Premier League minutes this season and goals in O'Reilly to come in and do something that would not necessitate a single defensive midfielder. I'm not against a single pivot, but if you're just going to leave him against the best counter-attacking team while Lamptey bombs on forward, it's just shocking.
It's suicide. It's suicidal football. That's what that is.
Do you know who it reminds me of, Aaron?
Who's that there?
And I got absolute pelters for this earlier in the season. Reminds me of Sami Hyypiä. Because when we started the season and we were playing this crazy high-line football, I said, it reminds me of watching Sami Hyypiä, and I got absolute pelters for it. And, perhaps that's fair because we have shown glimpses of betterness since then. But performance today is very similar.
No, I don't think even Hyypiä is that stupid to play one in midfield. Sami Hyypiä was ahead of his time.
I mean, he did play Bruno in midfield, didn't he? So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, those are scary times. They were scary times.
It's worrying that we are now in the Premier League and we are comparing our current manager to Sami Hyypiä. And as Sam has just rightfully said, the players are a lot better than Sami Hyypiä had.
This is true.
Yeah, which is, again, a really fair comment to make. And, I think Sami Hyypiä was trying to do things with players that weren't suited to a system. But I don't even know what Herzler's system is meant to be. I couldn't tell you. Potter's system, really clear. We said this last week, Aaron. Potter, really, really clear. Pass, pass, pass. We didn't score a lot of goals, but for the most part, we were defensively sound-ish. De Zerbi, very clear system. Went to pot in the end. We know that. We got found out. We didn't have a plan B. But we still had an identity. There is no system, no discernible system that I can see. It changes from game to game, and some people might point to that and say, "Well, that's good. You're being, reactive or proactive in
proactive." Yeah,
but I just don't see it. It doesn't come out. It doesn't come across that way. It doesn't come across as a proactive coach who's doing things on a game-to-game basis. It comes across as someone who doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's a coach that doesn't know what he wants, who he wants, and how to play. That's exactly what it is. And do you know why this is? And I haven't really said much about this. I think he's been found out. He's not old enough to coach at this level yet. It's unfortunately how it is. He's too naive tactically, and it costing us time and time and time again. Like I said last week, any manager, even Potter, we would have beaten Leicester. We wouldn't have thrown a 2-0 lead. De Zerbi, we probably would have held on and probably would have scored like 5 or 6 more because that's the kind of crazy Italian man that he was. Wolves, ain't no way Potter's losing that game. We just keep the ball. We just keep the ball. We make them run, etc., etc. De Zerbi would probably do the same thing, but probably a bit quicker tempo. Does Hertz shrug their shoulders? Yeah, the math doesn't math. The math does not math.
It screams volumes, Aaron, that we're sitting here praising Graham Potter. But that's what we're left with. And I'm going to just read out the things Tim said, because I think, Tim, we are obviously talking about the Hertz are out situation. I say situation. The question here is option one, as Tim sees it. Option one, Dunk comes out and says, we're all with the manager and the whole club sticks it out till the end of the season, then assess. I'm not necessarily against that, Tim. The way I'm feeling right this moment, that would rub against me the wrong way. But I do think probably if I'm taking a more balanced backseat, I think you're probably right. Option two, I think this is the one that a lot of fans want to see. Sack tonight, ask senior staff members to take the helm until we employ the man to take the club forward. I think many fans will be back in this tonight, Aaron, after the display we saw today. And rightly or wrongly, that's what fans will be calling for, because I think if we'd lost 1-0 and it was a sketchy 1-0 loss, that reaction probably would be a bit harsh. But I think after the manner of defeats, the complete lack of identity within the club, the inconsistency across this season so far has probably got people to this point. So option two, sack tonight, ask his senior staff. If you were the Bloom and Barber, Aaron, and you did take option two, as Tim puts it to us, which senior members of staff would you put in charge, just out of interest? Because obviously my go-to last season would have been Lallana and Crofts, but I don't know who you'd pick this season.
Crofts would be one of them, to be honest. Probably Crofts and Jack Stern, probably. They've seemed to be here through thick and thin. So they're the two that I would probably give it to, in fairness. But option two, option two is the only option.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was option one, I think would probably put more pressure more pressure for Hertzer to sort of impress. Like if Dunk comes out and says, "Oh no, we back him," like blah blah blah, this nonsense, then that to me shows that they don't really back him.
No.
I think that might make it worse.
Yeah, that's a PR stunt, isn't it?
To be fair, I've just seen Dan say in the comments, Croft and Milner.
Yeah.
That's not a bad shout, to be fair.
Yeah, Milner's got the experience. Yeah, again, Sam saying it, Crofts, Milner, possibly Dunk.
Dunk should be in there kind of regardless of the fact he's a captain. So he should be somewhat in that sort of team kind of thing. He should have a say for us, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Yeah. But I think the ultimate thing we're probably going to see is what Lee's just put. People need to prepare for Bloom showing faith in keeping Fabian Herzler. I think you probably are right, Lee. I think that probably will be the case. I mean, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to recall back in the Huppier years, just going to bring that up again, Huppier tendered his resignation, but Bloom refused.
Yeah.
And then I think it was a week later we lost to
Millwall. Yeah.
And then he handed it in again, and Bloom accepted. So I think you probably are right. You are right, Lee, that he is probably going to see out the season with us. So it's one of those, we are going to have to prepare for that, and we'll probably have to prepare for more of this stuff this time next week. Keep popping your comments up to us, guys, on Blue Sky and on here as well. We are here to chat about the game. Here's one from Dan, and I must say, Dan, you are looking very handsome in that picture. Bloom has to be pissed. The amount of money spent, and we've actively regressed. More of an implosion, to be honest. Yeah, that's massive for me, Aaron. The lack of composure, the lack of guile and resilience when things go wrong. You could tell after we conceded the first goal, it wouldn't be long until we conceded the second, and then we conceded 2 goals in quick succession. I think the second and the third were only about 5-6 minutes apart, and then again in the second half we conceded 2 goals within about 5 minutes. We've just got no backbone. We've got no backbone at all. It's genuinely shocking how weak we are mentally and physically. Forest just wanted it so much more. And I am going to bring this up because a few people have mentioned it now, and I didn't see it myself. Warren kept mentioning on the radio that Fab just sat down, no reaction. De Zerbi would have gone nuts. I think
he didn't, because Hurts hasn't got a fucking clue. He hasn't got a fucking clue.
Yeah, do you think that was him hiding, Aaron?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Without a shadow of doubt. The thing is that result wouldn't happen under De Zerbi.
No, I think...
He wouldn't have allowed it.
No, I think if it did, he, as you've said, Julie, De Zerbi would have been on the sidelines screaming.
We got battered at Villa, but that happened once. And to be fair, Villa were very good that day, and we deserve what we got. And it's similar today, but the problem is at least De Zerbi was trying to stick to a game plan, and then realised it didn't work and changed it. But Villa were just that good, unfortunately, that it wasn't much we could do, really. And I'm trying to be quite calm about.
Yeah, I've actually been a bit more than you this time, Aaron, and that's a rarity. I try and normally keep my cool head, but as I said to you before we came on air, last week it started slipping about an hour in. This week it's only taken about a couple of minutes. But you have been remarkably calm, Aaron. I must say, I'm very impressed.
Thank you. It's I have so much anger to the point where I feel like I could just snap. Because if anyone, I've always doubted Fab, and I've said this for a while. He's not the man. He's not the man. I get fucking given the big one of trust the process. Oh, give him time. Blah 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 blah. We win at United. See, look, Fab's back. We told you trust the process. Blah 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 blah. Nah, fuck it. No process. Get the clown gone. He is not the man to take us forward. We've gone backwards again. We went backwards under Zerbi towards the end. We decided to rectify it. We're bringing Hertzer in. Again, we've now started to go backwards again. Is it acceptable to go backwards? Yes, it's part and parcel of football. But when you spend £200 million, you do not expect him to go this far back. People say, "Oh, you're ninth." Yeah, we'll finish 16th for this fucking rate.
I think with the ninth thing, I think that some people have put it on Blue Sky. We're in ninth, and many people's perception is we're in ninth in spite of Hurtsler, not because of him, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah, God, that's spot on. There is no way he is the reason we're ninth.
Yeah.
He's the reason we're ninth, but he's also not the reason we're ninth. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, he's holding us back, in my opinion. Then the players are getting him out of trouble.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking sick to death of it. You go into the Amex, it's like a fucking chore at the moment.
Yeah. A lot of people said that. A lot of people.
You rocked up last week. We weren't going to win. Knew that already. And people are like, "Oh, support your team." I do. I was supporting through thick and thin. But when you've got someone who doesn't understand the structure of his own team, you have to kind of question it. It baffles me the fact that people, if I see anyone back him tonight, my mind will be fucking blown. And people are like, "Oh no, it's just head loss. It's not head loss. It isn't head loss because we knew this day was coming, and we've said this for ages.
Yeah,
that he is not the man. He isn't.
No, it was.
But he's had injuries. He's had this. So is every other club. every other club has had injuries, but they still deal with it better than we do. Granted, we've had a lot more. I think we're the top of the charts of like with injuries, but at the same time, you can't keep using that as an
No.
excuse.
And I would argue that that chart is somewhat skewed by the long-term injuries of Jack Milner and Solly March, myself. It does impact it, but like today, as I said, we were pretty much at a full. We had a potential full strength 11 ish with us, because you can't tell me that O'Reilly coming in doesn't make the squad better or certainly more balanced. Gomez is still a bit of an unknown quantity as of yet. But again, what was the point in buying him if you're not going to use him? And I'll tell you
Yeah,
what,
exactly.
Aaron, we haven't mentioned this so far, but what also worries me is the fact that Enciso's gone. Now, I know you're not a huge Enciso fan, and in and of itself, Enciso going out on loan isn't like the end of the world. But then you hear things like Ferguson wants to go. That's slightly more concerning, because you think, yeah, he's not setting the world alight. Yeah, he's not looking great. But again, he wants to go to get more game time. That these sorts of things start to just worry me just a smidge, because I'm starting to think, why are our young players that we're sort of cultivating and trying to sort of get to the next step, why are they going backwards, and why are they so keen to leave? So that's
Uh,
another
I
small
think
worry.
I'm thinking Cecil should have been at the start of the season anyway on loan. I don't think he's the answer to these questions. Ferguson, I think he needs game time after an injury. He needs to be playing minutes. So I feel like the loan move for him. I don't think we'll sell him. I don't think we'll sell him. I don't think we're stupid enough to sell him. At this point, we're stupid enough to keep Hertz, so fuck knows at this point. Um, I don't think he'll go permanently. He'll go on loan, probably to West Ham, probably get 5 or 6 goals, come back, and he'll be better next year. Buonanotte will be better next year for his loan move to Leicester. Enciso maybe better next year from his loan spell at Ipswich. I doubt it, but I just think there's got to be questions why we're not playing Ferguson, why we I think Ferguson and Welbeck up top I think would work at a minute better than what we saw today. I feel like Pedro didn't offer us much. Root had done what he could, but again didn't offer anything. Minte was pony. Matoma was awful. Like it's difficult to say because strikers can only score when they get some sort of service. Not all well beaters can get the ball in the half turn, hit it clean as a whistle goes top bins. Like they're not Baz Savage, which clearly is what we're missing. But yeah,
Lovely
there's a
reference.
lot. There's a lot of issues going on at this club at the minute. I don't know if issues is the right word. There's a lot of rumblings going on.
Yeah, I think that's what puts me off, because as you say, it's like major. It's not like we're having news every week that players are going on like anything major, like going on strike or falling out with the coach. But there just doesn't. I don't know. It's just a bad vibe, bad juju I'm getting
Mm.
at the moment from
What's
the
a
club.
bad
It just,
juju?
yeah, bad juju. It's just one of
Okay.
those things where it just feels off. It
Mm.
feels off, and I think that that's my thing to me. And it could just be because of a bad run of results. But even when we went on that 3-game streak of, obviously, as you say, Norwich, Ipswich, and Man United, even those 3 wins didn't sort of paper over the cracks for me, because even then it was still like, yeah, but I'm just waiting on, you know, what comes next. I'm just expecting something bad to happen. Just real quick, Oscar has said Spurs players were made to reimburse travelling fans after they got battered 6-1 to Newcastle in 2023. So the fans, the club should do the same for our fans today. Chloe, who is a member of the Albion Obsessed team, she put in our group chat that she was up at 5:30 this morning
Yeah,
to
not
get up
acceptable.
and go to Forest. It's just awful, awful. I feel so sorry for the travelling fans that made their way to the Forest ground today to watch that utter garbage. Here's one from Lee again. We signed players like Gruda, Minter, Ruta to take on players 1v1 and open up low blocks. No one, including Pedro or Matoma, against Everton tried to take on man on into the second half. It was so negative. I mean, yeah, and we've talked about the Everton game, but generally speaking, our football has been really negative. We're so painfully slow, and we've seen today against Forest what quick, direct, football can look like. While we're sort of forward, stop, cut it back, sideways, cut it back, go back to the goalkeeper. Forest were like, nope, ball, bang, up there, we've won a corner. Ball, bang, up there, shot. Bart makes a save. Bang, up there, goal. It's not rocket science. Move the ball quicker. Move the ball quicker.
Yes, like you say, it's not. It really isn't rocket science. If the ball's moving quicker, then you have more chance of creating opportunities, scoring goals. It's going to be easy to find spaces in between the lines because they're going to be out of position. Because not all players, or not all back fours or back threes or whatever they were playing, is back three. They're not going to be perfectly in line every time when they're getting dragged out of position because we're playing quick. Someone will come over to cover. One may not come across as well, leaving a massive gap. We can penetrate that. As soon as you get the ball and you keep the ball and stand and look, where do I pass? At that point, the attack's done because they will all get behind the ball and they'll just sit. This is what happened against Everton.
Yeah,
like we'll have the chance to run at someone and we'll just stop and go, oh no, we'll just go sideways to sideways. I think I read somewhere on Twitter or X last week that Bolton Wanderers fans wanted their manager out, and they were singing sideways again, sideways again. Yeah, that's what I watch in Brighton because that's what we do, just sideways. Fucking attack against United. What do? We actually attacked, and we took them. I mean, we've done very, very well with United. But again, United at Old Trafford aren't the force they used to be.
No.
Obviously, you can only beat what's in front of you. What on earth was that? Forest will probably walk in that training room right now thinking, that's probably the easiest game I've had all year in my career.
Yeah.
Like without
he must have just been, rubbing his hands after his first goal, thinking, I can score a hatful here.
Yeah. I should have captained him in my foot because he always scores against us anyway.
Yeah.
But to score a hat trick of relatively easy goals, because they were all gifts. There was no really good goal.
No. And that's the thing as well. It's just individual errors. I mean, the first goal, I'm not going to go through all the goals because we'll be here forever. But like the first goal, Lamptey's out of position. Dunk, in my opinion, needs to leave that for Van Hecke because Van Hecke looks like he's got that covered. So where's the communication? Where's the Van Hecke screaming, I've got this? Instead, Dunk dangles a leg, puts it into his own blooming net. Then
vintage Dunk.
It's Lamptey had an absolute shocker. But I think everyone had an absolute shocker today. But I think as bad as the players have been, and I do think they need to take some responsibility because they're the ones that are on the pitch. But if their instructions are not up to scratch, if their if their instructions, if the coach isn't giving them what they need to be an effective football team on the pitch, then it all stems from the top. I've never been it's all on the manager because it's not. The players are the ones out there playing. But as I say, if their instructions are awful, or if he set them up with one holding midfielder, then he's setting them up to fail, and fail they did.
Drastically failed. It wasn't even like it failed a little bit.
No,
it was quite possibly the worst performance I've seen for a long, long time.
Yeah, I think we're going back to the with Dean years. In terms
I don't think I've seen. I think that could probably be one of my worst performances I've seen as a Brighton fan. I think. I can't think of much worse.
No,
I mean, I know we lost to 9 men.
Yeah, that's the one I always look at as the single worst Warsaw.
But the problem is that that didn't really hurt us. No, I don't know if this even hurts because it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think that's the worst
Like,
part. Isn't
yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, we've just been made to absolute fucking mugs on live television. It was a 3 o'clock kickoff. It's still embarrassing.
Mm.
But every single team who we played today will be watching that game.
Yep. And every single team. I mean, Chelsea must be rubbing their hands together.
Oh, mate, it's going to be double figures at this point if we fucking defend like that against Chelsea.
Yeah.
In both games.
Cole Palmer made us look silly earlier in the season. And if I was him today watching that, I'd be thinking, ooh, next week's going to be...
I mean, the difference is, again, one of Fabian's many, many masterclasses of playing a high press against a team who are really quick in behind.
Yeah,
so that's really fucking smart job. That right there is UEFA fucking pro college, pro licensing coaching. Yeah. That is. Well, that is really fucking smart.
And here's
good.
Us plebs who could have told you that was a bad idea, who can't afford that blooming coaching badge.
Yeah,
you know, that would that's half my, well, maybe not half, quarter of my yearly salary. That is.
Probably, yeah, brilliant. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I could have told you that was a bad idea.
Did we change it? Yeah, in the second half. But what was the scoreline when we changed it, Tom?
4-0, was it?
Yeah, exactly. What's the fucking point?
4-0, yeah. But yeah, it was a shocker. And even then, when we did score, thanks Big Bob Sanchez for having an absolute mare. And that's sort of like, that's what, when I look at the Chelsea game, that's the only sort of silver lining I can think of, is that if we're up against Big Bob Sanchez, yeah, we might have a chance because he's an absolutely shocking keeper. But this is what annoys me, Aaron. We shouldn't have to rely on the opposition being awful.
Exactly.
To get some sort of result. It's just, yeah. I feel like we could sit here all day, Aaron, and just sort of talk about, how bad it's been. But I know you need to get off relatively soon.
I do, yes. Yeah.
So we'll sort of draw it to a close, Aaron. If you could pick 3 words in the English language to describe today's performance, which 3 would you go with?
Absolutely fucking clueless.
I mean, it wasn't 3 words, but I will give it to you because you're spot on. Absolutely fucking clueless. Yeah, it was 3 words. What am I doing? Yeah. See, this is what's done. It's rotted my brain.
So you're a teacher.
Sorry, mate. That was me as a teacher. I should know better.
I was like. That is 3 words.
That was a me problem.
Okay.
Mine would be gutless, pathetic, shit. I just don't have the, anything more than that. I've refrained from saying this all season, but Mr. Herzler, I think it might be time to go. Or go to Tony Bloom and ask for help, because I think you need it. I don't think
no amount of money is going to help him right now.
No. I have not this season. I've tried not to let my sort of doubts creep in and go into that Herzler out space. And who knows, if Lee suggests, we don't part way with him. Maybe it will turn around and it'll all be singing, all dancing. But I just can't see it. So, yes, Aaron, I hope the 45 minutes has been a cathartic experience as we sort of...
Yes, yeah, it has calmed me down, which is nice.
Good. And viewers and listeners, I hope you too have been sort of calmed, perhaps, or maybe we've made you even more angry. But hopefully this has been a space where you've been able to vent your frustrations at today's results and some of the wider issues as well. So, guys, thank you for tuning into this live edition. Don't forget, of course, to like, share, and subscribe for more content if you haven't done so already. But for now, guys, we will bid you adieu, wherever you may be, whenever you may be. I hope you get over it soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Well, mate,